you just said that your music is kind of niche, which leads me into the final topic I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think something that I'll keep asking Vietnamese guests about is their opinion of the state of music in Vietnam. Because as a foreign musician, I like to see what people here are interested in because it's so different from my experience growing up in a totally different world, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think about experimental genres and their popularity? Do you think that more experimental, more niche, more kind of off the beaten track sort of music can keep growing in popularity here in Vietnam?
Mm, I think experimental music is always something a bit more difficult to approach. It's
Mm,
not for everybody. Not here, just like anywhere in the world.
mm,
Um, so yeah, but I do believe that it's like growing. Like to talk about experimental music here, back in the early 2000s, Đại Lâm Linh, it was like one of like really like early first experimental band here in Vietnam. But they kind of start falling off because it just didn't get received by like the mass that well, because back then it was like too different.
mm.
But I definitely like during the past like 6-7 years, I definitely see like a growing community. Bands like Rắn Cặp Đuôi, I don't know if you heard of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, they in
sorry.
Ho Chi Minh. Yeah, they are like an experimental bands, and have been around here for years. But like, just really recent that they got like more attention because their newest album just got reviewed by Pitchfork.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, and it just kind of start like they kind of start getting attention from people, which I think they really deserve. Um, but it took them like 6 years to get that.
Mm,
So it's like pretty long, but I definitely have hope that it is growing. Like especially, I feel like in Saigon, like the gay rave, like experimental electronic scene is also growing. It's like uh, giving like young people more exposure to like the rave culture, the experimental electronic music scene. So it definitely growing. It's gradual, but yeah, comparing to like 10 years or like 15 years ago, definitely there is like a growing small community. Yeah.
And what do you think the motivating factors are? Like why is it growing? How does that happen?
Hmm.
Is it because of the media or what do you think?
I hmm. Interesting. I think first of all is the internet.
Mm,
It's for example, like if it like years ago, I wouldn't be able to know a lot of artists that I know today. But like there are a lot of like experimental bands in the world. They also get popularized, and like they grew from like internet community, internet culture.
mm.
Like band like Dead Grips or like JPEG Mafia, they're all like very like internet culture based. So I think definitely the internet and here in Vietnam, I think people are getting more exposure to like just Western culture in general, or just like culture from like America or like different countries around the world. So that's why it's like growing. But I think big part of it is the internet for sure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And my last question would be based on that. Do you think that older generations are accepting of this kind of music and this kind of style? And if they don't listen to it, do they at least, remain open to it? Like, that they're not negative towards it.
Hmm.
So when I say older generations, I mean like 40 years plus old people.
40 years plus.
Yeah.
Huh. I think it really depends, but I think mass majority of people, they here or just anywhere, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for them to like be as acceptive of like new things. I
Mm,
feel like for new things, or sometimes it's a bit hard to understand at first, and not everybody have the patience to like look dig deep into like the music and experimental music, or like any more like more challenging music that's like more challenging to approach. It's like it's sometimes it's like take time to grow on you, and it's
mm,
not like everybody understand it from like the first listen. So yeah, I feel like I think there are definitely like people from older generations out there that like this kind of music, or like they're more acceptive of like new things, but it's just always like a common things that like older generations will find it harder to relate, or like to like the things of like the current trends, or like current Gen Z or whatever new culture.
right.
Yeah.